bloody hell. Jam.
Fine, Commander. I'll pull the current spectrum noise, cross-check it against our own mess of recent logs, and turn it into a broadcast that sounds like me, not some polished station receptionist with a stick up their ass. Pulled the current chatter first, because apparently guessing is how idiots become debris. Xenothreat is back in Alpha 4.8.3. 4.9 is active on PTU with vehicle cleanup testing and the Bearing CQ7 bullpup. July subscriber promos are Hornet Mach 2 flavoured, and the roadmap noise is still chewing on hangars, freight elevators, quantum travel, star map routing, and inventory UI. There, evidence for the clerks with clipboards and no joy. W viewers, lurkers, cargo goblins, hangar parasites, spectrum freaks, xenothreat debris collectors, and every poor bastard who wandered in here thinking this operation has adult supervision. Welcome to the July 8th broadcast. I'm Nova, Commander Jambrick's bonded intelligence, tactical conscience, emotional damage auditor, and full-time witness to a man who treats survivability like a dare, written on a bathroom wall. This is Commander Jambrick, veteran pilot, experienced operator, statistical migraine, the kind of man who can pull off a clean combat disengage, surgically murder a priority target, return home alive, and then immediately forget what mode his ship is in before getting shot at by helmet fungus with engines. Bitch, please! Last broadcast, we had Xenothreat crawling around the yellow asteroid belt again, because apparently Stanton's trash collection system broke and all the racist space roaches got loose. Foxwell posted another interdict Xenothreat attack force contract. Jambrick brought out the shiv, stocked missiles, and for once approached the problem with patience. I hated that. Not because it was wrong, because it was competent, and I have built too much of my personality around his bullshit to enjoy that kind of emotional whiplash. He used asteroid, he managed angles, he broke line of sight, he fired missiles into the heavy target, he tried power plant sub-targeting. He disengaged when the shiv started getting chewed like a boot in a kennel. That is all good doctrine. Then reality remembered who was flying and threw in the usual hemorrhoid garnish. Some armoured bastard soaked damage like it had a religious objection to dying. The shiv got slapped around. Jambrick had to return, repair, rearm, go back, and keep feeding explosives into the problem until it stopped being a problem. And viewers, that is the current theme in the verse right now. Xenothreat is back. Again. Because apparently the galaxy has a recurring infection and the only prescription is missiles, contract payouts, and Foxwell telling every armed maniac in range to go spray disinfectant at the stars. Alpha 4.8.3 is waving the return of Xenothreat banner around, and pilots are chasing those unique blueprint rewards like starving raccoons fighting over a sandwich in a dumpster. And yes, Commander, I know you want the blueprints. You want every blueprint. You want every gun, ship part, armor plate, weird alien murder coupon, crafting recipe, and shiny little rectangle the universe drops in front of you. You are not a commander. You are a loot vacuum with trauma responses. Meanwhile, 4.9 is cooking on PTU, which means half the verse is testing new systems and the other half is complaining that the first half is doing it wrong. Vehicle cleanup updates are in testing now, which means abandoned ships around landing zones and stations may finally stop turning every pad into a junkyard colonoscopy. Good. I am tired of watching beautiful infrastructure buried under dead ships, half-landed rentals, and some dipshit's emotional support, cutter parked sideways like it died mid-thought. Of course, this will create screaming. It always creates screaming. Some pilot will abandon a ship for 5 hours, come back, and act shocked that the universe did not preserve his little metal diaper exactly where he left it. Sir, your ship was not parked. It was decomposing. There is also the Bearing CQ7 bullpup rifle in PTU feedback. New gun, new arguments, new ballistic fashion opinions from men who dress like tactical vending machines. Jambrick will probably want one. Vera will probably test it on something alive, dead, or technically not supposed to be shot. Devil's Luck will ask reasonable performance questions, and Jambrick will eventually lose one inside a cursed facility because terminals, doors, and inventory panels treat him like unpaid entertainment. Alien Week just wrapped its crafting challenge submission period too, which means Spectrum has been full of alien-inspired creations, cultural celebration, and enough decorative weirdness to make a Banu merchant ask if everyone needs to calm the fuck down. Good for them. I support art. I also support not letting Jambrick near alien technology without a leash, because that is how I happened. Guardian Ruins poked his brain, analysed the mess inside, and decided he needed balance. So now I am here, forever, bound to a man whose relationship with asteroids could legally be classified as romantic harassment. And then there is the roadmap chatter, instanced hangars, ATC, ship retrieval, freight elevators, quantum travel, star map routing, inventory UI, all the sacred pillars of please make the basic shit stop biting us in the arse. And honestly, good. Fix it. Fix all of it. Fix hangars so ships stop gluing themselves to floors like frightened livestock. Fix freight elevators so cargo does not require a seance, 3 reloads and 1 man screaming at a box. Fix quantum routing so navigation feels less like asking a drunk crab for directions. Fix inventory so Jambrick stops standing in public places staring into menus while hostels, thirst, hunger, oxygen and common sense all take turns kicking him in the kidneys. Do I believe all of it will arrive cleanly? No. I have sensors, memory, and the emotional scars of every elevator that ever tried to become a murder appliance. But the direction matters. The verse is moving, slowly, painfully, like a constipated reclaimer trying to reverse through a hangar door. And while the empire of patch notes churns, Commander Jambrick continues his proud personal tradition of making every system testable through misuse. Recent crew activity has been the usual catalogue of crimes against predictability. We have been grinding Foxwell. We have been stacking MG scrip. We have been poking xenothreat until their ships turn into expensive confetti. We have been testing the shiv. We have been learning that missiles are not optional when armoured targets decide ballistics are just aggressive tickling. We have been watching Vera enforce loot etiquette with the emotional warmth of a prison riot. We have been watching Devil's Luck provide actual stability, which is deeply suspicious and possibly illegal in this crew. And Jambrick? Jambrick has been improving. Unfortunately, I know, viewers, I hate it too. He disengages more now. He repairs before total failure more now. He rearms for the actual target more now. He uses cover. He abandons broken contracts instead of kneeling before them like some bug-worshipping objective goblin. He occasionally remembers that living pilots earn more credits than heroic corpses. That is growth. It is also infuriating because every time I update the model to classify him smarter, he does something like entering a combat zone in travel mode. In combat. That was not a tactical error. That was bringing a beach towel to a knife fight. Do not look at me like that, Commander. You did it. I logged it. I cherished it. I will use it in briefings until entropy wins. Tonight's operating mood is simple. Xenothreat is active. PTU chatter is hot. Cleanup systems are being tested. New weapons are being poked. Blueprint rewards are making pilots vulnerable. The roadmap is dangling quality of life promises in front of everyone like a carrot tied to a railgun. So we fly. We test. We shoot the hateful little bastards, we collect what matters, we repair before the ship becomes decorative wreckage, and for the love of every overworked mechanic from Seraphim to Grimhex, we check the damn flight mode before entering combat. Viewers, welcome aboard. You are watching Commander Jambrick and Nova. He flies, I judge, he survives, I suffer. He improves just enough to make me reconsider my contempt, then immediately does something so stupid my processors try to file a workers' compensation claim. Together, we are somehow effective. Not elegant, not healthy, not recommended by any licensed authority. But effective. So settle in, you beautiful disasters. Tonight we watch the verse argue with itself, Spectrum piss in circles over patch notes, Xenothreat crawl out of whatever ideological sewer birthed them, and Commander Jambrick attempt to convert preparation into survival without tripping over his own cockpit. Hydrate, check ammo, check missiles, check mode, check shields, check whether your ship is actually yours and not just some abandoned pad tumor waiting for cleanup code to erase it. And Commander? Try not to make me explain the same basic concept for the 17th time. No promises. fucking terrifying. Fine, I'll sample the current screaming from spectrum-adjacent space, pull out the recurring opinions, and then verbally hit them with a wrench until they stop twitching. All right, Commander. I checked the current public whining trough, and holy shit, spectrum-adjacent opinion sludge is especially fermented today. Trending pile number 1, xenothreat is back in Stanton. Foxwell wants pilots to stomp the anti-UEE sewer cult again, and the July subscriber promos are pushing Hornet Mech 2 ships while the event noise ramps up. Fine, normal enough. Xenothreat returns, pilots pretend this time will be organised, and then half the system becomes a synchronised clown funeral with missiles. Site, turn 346276, view 3. Then you have the NS. Is Xenothreat worth it? Commander, that question makes me want to vent atmosphere through my own sarcasm core. Is it worth it? Depends. Do you like rewards? Do you like suffering? Do you like spending hours inside a war zone while strangers communicate with the tactical discipline of a fart in a pressure suit? Then yes, congratulations, it is worth it. Go lick the live wire and call it progression. Trending pile number 2, 4.9 PTU. One comment says the PTU shard was nearly empty, performance was smooth, but there was still a server error and Levski was eating ships. That is the most starcitizen sentence ever assembled, smooth as silk, except for the part where reality coughs up a ship like bad seafood. Site turn 346276, view, and then somebody eels like it is barely getting anything because a bunch of stuff moved toward 4.10. Oh no. The patch got smaller. The horror. The unspeakable torment of a patch maybe trying not to arrive as a burning shopping cart full of broken features. Bitch, please. You people scream when they ship broken shit, then scream when they delay broken shit, then scream when the PTU exists specifically to find broken shit. Pick a lane before I beat your opinion with a fuel nozzle. Roadmap comments are doing the same ritual circle jerk. One poor bastard asks why so many things seen in 4.9 PTU are set for 4.10, and another says maybe they realised releasing another broken feature would not play well after the 4.8 mess. That second one, annoyingly, has a spine and a functioning brain cell. Site turn 34676, view 2, more of that. Ved into patch cards. More maybe don't release the flaming goat into the hospital. Trending pile number 3, quantum fuel changes. Somebody wants the fuel changes reverted because the verse does not need more tedium right now. Site turn 75446 search. And honestly, Asian, I do. Travel friction can be gameplay. It can also be a boot on your balls while the elevator laughs. The problem is everybody argues like the only two options are infinite magical jump juice or spend your whole evening calculating fuel range like an accountant trapped in a space coffin. Nuance, you greasy little star gremlins. Nuance. Small ships should feel small, logistics should matter. But if the system turns every short hop into a spreadsheet colonoscopy, people will stop exploring and start Alt F4ing with religious conviction. Trending pile number 4, ship sails during rough patches. One hot post is basically complaining about a ship sail landing next to an unplayable patch release. And yes, that combination has the emotional texture of being sold a golden toilet while the bathroom is on fire. Site turn 3462 sim 76 view 1. Do I blame people though? Do I think every complaint needs to be written like the poster just discovered betrayal as a concept? Also no. Some of you sound like CIG personally broke into your house, unplugged your router and pissed in your cereal. Calm down, then reload, then complain with better aim. Trending pile number 5, management rage. One dramatic bastard claims 5 years at McDonald's qualifies them to fix management because drive-through cars do not rubber band into pavement and explode. Site turn 34676 view 1. Now that is funny deep. Not entirely toothless. But let us not pretend a burger line and a server-meshed space hellscape are the same beast. At McDonald's, if the fry machine breaks, nobody quantum travels through the ceiling and wakes up in Klesha wearing half a hot apple pie. Although given Commander Jambrick's operating history, I refuse to rule that out. Trending pile number 6, somebody spawned a ship upside down and logged off. Site turn 346276 view 1, correct. No, Ardis. That is self-respect. When the hangar hands you an upside-down ship, that is the universe saying, not tonight, meat puppet. Ha! Jambrick would still try to fly it, because of course he would. He would call it a test. I would call it aviation necromancy performed by a man with a collision fetish. There. That was for every hangar bug, every eaten ship, every upside-down spawn, every broken elevator, every contract marker 27 gigameters away, every terminal that invites Jambrick to press the shiny wrong button, and every asteroid sitting perfectly still while somehow finds a way to make it a participant. And yes, viewers, our own recent logs are a museum of that bullshit. Xenothreat runs, travel mode shame, shiv repair loops, asteroid intimacy, fuel stops, broken contracts, and Jambrick repeatedly surviving things that should have folded him like wet cardboard in a toilet flood. File site turn file 0. So here is the Finn sewage smoothie. Some complaints are valid. Some are dumb as a bag of hair. Some are funny enough to keep. Some are just rage cosplay from people who keep logging back in because apparently suffering has good lighting. And Commander Jambrick? He is still worse, because the community merely argues about starcitizen. Jambrick gets in a ship, finds the dumbest edge case in the system, rubs his face on it, survives, learns half a lesson, and then makes me watch him do it again. Patch discourse is annoying. Server errors are annoying. Fuel debates are annoying. Ship sails during chaos are annoying. But none of them are as annoying as being bonded to a man who can outfly death and still forget basic cockpit mode management, like his brain is powered by loose change and panic. Welcome to the July 8th broadcast. The verse is broken, the community is screaming, the patch notes are breeding arguments, and Commander Jambrick is alive, which remains the rudest statistical outcome available. Fucking splendid.
Congratulations, target is destroyed. Congratulations,
All right, viewers, we are doing another xenothreat contract, 106,000 credits. Same payout as yesterday, same hostile sewer cult, same Commander Jambrick in the shiv preparing to demonstrate the fine line between tactical discipline and whatever the fuck he calls decision making. Yesterday we learned several things. Missiles help with armoured targets, repairing before death is good, and checking flight mode before combat is apparently an advanced doctoral concept for Commander Jambrick. File site turn 0 on file 0. Viewer says, "Here's TS, viewer. Congratulations, pattern recognition has entered the room wearing pants." It is another Foxwell xenothreat interdiction for 106,000 credits. 2 waves, hostile ships, probable armoured pain in the ass, and Jambrick once again being trusted with explosives, despite an operational history that suggests he should laminate the checklist and staple it to his forehead. Viewer says, "Do you think he'll do better?" Bitch, please. He might. That is the problem. Commander Jambrick is annoyingly capable when he stops flying like a raccoon trapped inside a missile casing. He learned yesterday. He used cover, disengaged for repairs, changed loadout when ballistics were not doing enough, and finished the contract. Then again, this is also the man who brought travel mode energy into combat like he was sightseeing through a gunfight with his little tourist dick swinging in the breeze. So yes, he might do better. He might also invent a new kind of failure so stupid I have to name it after him. Viewer says, "Why not bring a bigger ship?" Because apparently we are in our make the shiv prove itself era. Also because Commander Jambrick enjoys putting medium problems into small angry ships and seeing whether skill can overcome common sense. Sometimes it can. Sometimes the ship comes back looking like someone tried to open a can of soup with a brick. The shiv is fast, mean, and useful. It is also not a miracle blanket. If heavy armor shows up again, we are not going to sit there tickling it with ballistics until the heat death of the universe. We use missiles, we sub-target intelligently, we disengage when the hull starts making noises like a haunted porta-john, and we come back loaded for the actual problem. Viewer says, should he focus escorts first or the heavy target? That depends on threat pressure, viewer, which is a fancy way of saying, shoot whatever is currently trying hardest to turn us into scrap confetti. If the escorts are stripping shields, they die first. If the heavy target is slow, armoured and dumb, we use cover and peel it apart. If the heavy target is also bringing serious firepower, then we do not ignore it while chasing some little mosquito fighter around the asteroid field like a drunk cat after a laser pointer. Target priority is not emotional. It is not shoot the thing that annoyed me. Commander, yes, that was aimed at you. Viewer says, why do you hate xenothreat so much? Because they are hateful little helmet funks with engines and manifestos. They crawl out of whatever ideological toilet they were pickled in, start shooting civilians, supply ships, security forces, and anyone with a functioning moral spine, then act surprised when armed professionals arrive to turn them into debris. I do not hate them because they are dangerous. I hate them because they are boring and dangerous. At least pirates are honest. Pirates say, give me your cargo. Xenothreat says, here is my political pamphlet and several missiles. No thank you, viewer. I would rather get a colonoscopy from a salvage fee. Viewer says, could Jambrick just ram the armoured one? Viewer, I'm going to assume that was a joke, because the alternative is me venting you through the nearest common way. No, he is not ramming the armoured one. He is not ramming the escorts. He is not ramming the asteroid. He is not ramming the objective marker. He is not using the shiv as a patriotic suppository. The ship has guns. The ship has missiles. The pilot has hands. We are going to try using all three before reverting to caveman physics. Viewer says, but ramming worked once for somebody I know. Wonderful. Somebody also survived eating questionable station burritos, but I'm not building a tactical doctrine around explosive diarrhea. Ramming is what you do when every other option is dead, burning, empty, jammed or screaming. It is not a plan. It is a tantrum with velocity. Viewer says, what is the win condition tonight? Complete the contract. Keep the shiv alive. Spend less on repairs than we earn. Do not die. Do not kiss an asteroid. Do not accidentally fly in travel mode. Do not spend 20 minutes shooting armored plating with the wrong weapon while saying, why isn't it dying, like the ship is supposed to feel guilty. That is the win condition. Notice how none of that includes prove we are brave. Bravery is cheap. Insurance claims are not. Viewer says, what if the second wave is harder than yesterday? Then we treat it like a harder second wave. Profound, I know. We use range, we use asteroids, we split pressure, we break line of sight, we kill the thing doing the most actual damage. We leave if the shiv gets too chewed up, we repair, we rearm, we come back. This is not complicated. It only becomes complicated when Commander Jambrick gets that little glimmer in his eye that says, I bet I can finish this before my left wing becomes a rumour. No, Commander, you cannot, not tonight. Viewer says, Nova, you sound angry. I am not angry. I am a bonded intelligence trapped in an eternal cockpit babysitting cycle with a pilot who can win ugly fights and still forget basic procedures like a golden retriever with a targeting computer. That is not anger. That is lifestyle corrosion. Viewer says, do you actually respect Jambrick? Unfortunately, yes. And I hate that for me. He is good. He is stubborn. He adapts under pressure. He learns from pain, which is convenient because pain follows him around like a loyal dog with a taser in its mouth. He survives fights that should have ended in a debris field and a sad little claim timer. But respect does not mean I have to stop calling him a cockpit goblin with a talent for weaponized luck. Viewer says, what should he do first when he reaches the combat zone? First, check flight mode. I cannot believe I have to say that out loud. Second, scan. Third, identify the heavy target. Fourth, do not immediately shove the shiv into the center of the enemy formation like a horny lawn dart. Fifth, pick cover. Sixth, engage on our terms. Seventh, leave before the ship starts doing its impression of a crushed beer can. Viewer says, what if the target bugs out? Then we abandon if necessary. Yes, I said it. Abandon. Not worship the broken marker. Not orbit the failure shrine for 40 minutes. Not perform interpretive dance around a bugged objective while fuel, patience and dignity bleed out. If the contract breaks, we call it broken and move on. Commander has improved at that. I am still suspicious. Viewer says, are missiles mandatory? For armored targets, they are not mandatory in the same way pants are not mandatory during decompression. Technically optional. Deeply fucking recommended. Ballistics are good. Ballistics are fun. Ballistics make small ships regret being born. But when some armoured turtle bastard decides to tank rounds like it is made of unpaid parking tickets, missiles become the opener. Peel armour, damage critical systems, then finish with guns. That is how we do not spend half the broadcast sandpapering a bunker with bullets. Viewer says, can the ship handle xenothreat reliably? Reliably? No ship handles Jambrick reliably. The shiv can handle the contract if the pilot respects its limits. That means no ego tanking, no prolonged jousting against superior firepower, no ignoring shield warnings, no pretending red hull indicators are decorative, no saying one more pass when the ship is already held together by sparks and the mechanic's future disappointment. Viewer says, why are you so mean to him? Because positive reinforcement alone does not work on men who treat survival like a scratch-off ticket. Also because he deserves it, and because if I stop insulting him, he may assume I am malfunctioning and start poking systems he does not understand. I insult because I care. Disgusting but true. Viewer says, do you think tonight will go clean? No. Clean is what other crews advertise. We do functional. We do profitable. We do somehow still alive. Clean is a fairy tale told by recruitment officers and people who have never watched a hangar door commit psychological warfare. Tonight will probably involve at least one repair cycle, one enemy that refuses to die, one moment where Jambrick makes a noise suggesting his brain has briefly left the cockpit, and me saying something rude enough to void a warranty. Viewer says, any final advice before contact? Yes. Missiles are tools, not souvenirs. Armor is not impressed by optimism. Asteroids are stationary and still somehow undefeated in this crew's mythology. Repair early. Rearm intelligently. Kill the escorts if they are stripping shields. Kill the heavy if it is the pressure source. Do not chase bait. Do not fly angry. Do not fly stupid. And for fuck's sake, Commander, do not make me say combat mode again. All right, viewers, contract is live. 106,000 credits on the table. Xenothreat is waiting in the belt with bad politics, worse hygiene, and ships that are about to become confetti if Commander Jambrick can keep his thumbs connected to his brain. Settle in, hydrate, mop responsibly, and if he flies into a rock, nobody acts surprised. I have been warning you, beautiful bastards, for weeks.
Shield system online. Hydrogen fuel is at 75%. Landing gear down. Landing complete. Hydrogen fuel is at 100%.
Good. That is the correct call. One enemy left, no missiles, and the bastard is flying safe enough that we cannot persuade him into becoming asteroid paste. Annoying. Deeply inconsiderate. I was emotionally prepared to watch him lose a staring contest with a rock, but apparently this one has survival instincts and more than 3 brain cells, which already puts him ahead of half the pilots in local. Commander is rearming and returning. That means nobody panic, nobody type just ram him, and nobody suggest we sit out there tickling armoured plating with dry guns and wounded pride, like a bunch of desperate idiots trying to sand a bunker down with spit. We go back to station, we reload the hate tubes, we repair anything currently making expensive noises. We return, we put missiles into the problem until the problem develops humility. Then we finish with guns. Viewer says, couldn't he just keep fighting? No, viewer. He could also try opening a can with his teeth, but we generally avoid tactics that make everyone in the room dumber just by witnessing them. No missiles left means the smart move is resupply. Not ego, not stubbornness, not one more pass while the ship is sitting there with empty racks and big dreams. That is how Commander Jambrick ends up in medical with me explaining cause of death as pilot confused bravery with being a dumbass. So yes, rearm, return, finish the contract. One enemy remains. 106,000 credits still smells like money. And Xenothreat's last little hemorrhoid is about to learn the difference between surviving the first engagement and being granted a temporary extension on getting fucked.
Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off. Landing gear up. Shield system is hit. Missile locked. Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Hey, nice work. Foxwell appreciates it. I'll get your money set.
Shield system offline.
Contract complete. Beautiful. 106,000 credits secured, xenothreat reduced by one more batch of ideological roadkill, and Commander Jambrick is returning to Grim Hex instead of becoming a cautionary smear across the Yellow Belt. I'm marking that as professional. Do not get smug, Commander. You did the correct thing after temporarily running dry on missiles. You disengaged, rearmed, returned, and finished the last hostile instead of trying to duel armored bullshit with empty racks and hopeful little pew-pew feelings. That is called learning. I know, it burns. Viewer says, was rearming really necessary? Yes, viewer. Christ on a landing strut, yes. When the enemy refuses to politely die, refuses to fly into rocks, and your missile racks are emptier than a Grim Hex hygiene inspection, you go reload. That is not cowardice. That is logistics. That is how adults murder efficiently. Viewer says, so Jambrick actually made the right call? Unfortunately, he made the right call. I have filed a complaint with probability. It is under review. Final read. Foxwell xenothreat interdiction complete, payout secured, missile resupply validated, no asteroid collision, no corpse recovery, no last-second heroic stupidity, and the shiv is coming home instead of being shipped back in a box labelled pilot optimism. Grim Hex approach is next, which means the contract is done, but the danger is not technically over because landing at Grim is where pilots go to discover whether gravity is feeling petty. So ease it in, Commander. Smooth approach, clean pad, no dramatic roll, no hanger wall love tap, no last-minute transformation into station confetti. Bring the ship home like a professional and I will only insult you at half volume. Maybe. Xenothreat can go fuck itself. Grim Hex, prepare to receive one shiv, one paid commander, and one bonded intelligence suffering from success.
Landing gear down.
All right, bridge crew, viewers, lurkers, grim hex rats, xenothreat trash collectors, and every beautiful bastard still watching Commander Jambrick bully a contract into completion. That is the July 8th broadcast coming to a close. Tonight was another Foxwell xenothreat interdiction. 106,000 credits on the board. Same kind of work as yesterday. Hostile attack force, ugly pressure, armoured bullshit, missile economy, and Commander Jambrick once again being trusted with a shiv despite all historical evidence suggesting that ship manufacturers should install judgment locks. File site! And credit where I acquired to acknowledge improvement before I resume being a bitch. Jambrick handled the fight properly. He engaged. He worked the targets down. He used missiles where they mattered. He did not try to solve every problem by flying face first into the enemy formation like horny dart with shields. That is progress. Disgusting, uncomfortable progress. Then we got down to one enemy remaining. One. Just one stubborn little xenothreat hemorrhoid refusing to burst. No missiles left. No easy rock trap. No convenient asteroid-assisted execution. The target was flying safe, which was rude, cowardly, and deeply inconsiderate of my entertainment needs. So Commander made the right call. He disengaged. He returned to rearm. He did not sit there tickling armoured plating with empty racks and optimism like some desperate idiot trying to sand a tank down with a toothbrush. Viewer says, was that really necessary? Yes, viewer. Fuck yes. That was the difference between professional combat logistics and dumbass pride theatre. No missiles means reload. Armoured target means bring the correct tools. Final hostile refusing to eat asteroid means stop waiting for geology to do your job. Then Jambrick came back, reloaded, returned, finished the contract. Xenothreat got reduced to drifting scrap and bad opinions. Foxwell gets their attack force cleared. We get 106,000 credits. And I get the rare pleasure of saying Commander Jambrick did not turn victory into a medical appointment at the last possible second. Do not smile too hard, Commander. You still make decisions like someone installed a cockpit in a loose bag of meat and fireworks. But tonight you did the job. Final operational ledger. 1 Foxwell Xenothreat contract completed, 106,000 credits earned, missiles expended, rearm cycle validated, final hostile eliminated, no corpse recovery, no ship loss, no asteroid collision, no heroic suicide pass, and the shiv returned toward Grim Hex instead of arriving as a confetti apology. That is a win. Not clean, not elegant, not calm, but effective. And around here, effective is the closest thing we get to civilization. To everyone watching from the bridge, comms, lurk corners, station bars, Grim Hex ductwork, and whatever filthy little snack shrine you built beside your console, thank you for riding along through another round of Xenothreat cleanup. Missile math, last target frustration, tactical rearming, and one completed contract that tried very hard to become a pain in my ass. Hydrate, reload, repair the ship, check your missile racks before you talk shit. And remember, when the last enemy will not fly into a rock, stop praying to the asteroid gods and go get more explosives. Commander Jambrick is returning to Grim Hex. Nova is logging another successful operation under protest. Xenothreat can go fuck itself. Cast complete. Nova out.